Right, lads, I want to give you my first impressions of Dragon Age Inquisition after 28 hours. We haven't finished the game. I think we're quite far away from finishing the game, but I think 28 hours is a good metric, a good time to play a game to give you. Lads, when you've played a game for 28 hours, you've pretty much seen a lot of it. I don't think we're going to see anything new. So let me just give me my impressions after that time. So, lads, a couple of bullet points that I want to get through. The role playing. Lads, Dragon Age has always been a role playing game. I might get a bit of stick for saying this. The combat systems haven't been groundbreaking. They haven't been the best in the genre. It's not really why you play those games. You play Dragon Age games because you want to have an impact on the world. You want to have an impact on your companions. You want to try and change some outcomes of quests. Not all of them, but you want to at least feel like an illusion of choice that you're having some impact on the world. It's not here. The dialogue choices in this game for role playing can simply be boiled down to yes, yes, or yes harder. Please continue, mom. Please continue, sir. Please monologue at me harder than what you have been previously. It's just the dialogue options are simply a break in a cutscene that you have to press play to continue watching the cutscene. The best analogy I can have is if you were sold an interactive movie and when you put it on, every 5 minutes the movie stopped and you had to press play to continue the movie. That's about as much impact you can have on the characters or story in this game. Bar one choice in the story so far that I've had where something has changed, but it's not even a big deal. Lads, role playing, you're not going to find it in Veilguard, which is why people want to play Dragon Age games. If I could tell you what this game is like, so to give you a better idea on what to expect if you play it, it's God of War, the recent God of War games. It's an action game, combat focused, with parrying, etc. Well, we're playing as a warrior, so whatever I say, I'm going to be speaking as a warrior because that's what I've played for 28 hours. It feels like God of War. It feels like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but a one that you bought from Wish.com. It's not as deep as those games. I'm still having fun with the combat. It's the most fun I'm having with the game, and we'll get onto that last. But I want to get through to a few things first. So there we go. The characters, lads. None of the characters are interesting. Some of the characters at the beginning showed promise, but they've squandered that with the writing and boring dialogue. No characters got edge. No characters are suffering some sort of turmoil, which you could help them with one way or another, whether you help them with the turmoil or cause them to succumb to it, like you can in previous games. Like we've said, there's no role playing. You can't change it. Every character's story is going to play out the same whether you're there or not. Your player character is of no significance in this world. It's going to play out with you regardless. A lot of the characters are very boring, milquetoast. I don't necessarily think I quite like the voice actors. The voice actors are good. The material that they're being given is bad. And I would say the dialogue is the reason why the characters are bad is because the dialogue is very juvenile. There's a lot of real R-world terms, modern day terms that have been inserted into this game that just don't fit the fantasy setting. Every time we hear them, I think even a couple of times I've heard like an option for us to say where it's been like meh or asshole, and it doesn't really fit the setting. And aside from that, it's very childish. It might be because a lot of the companions in the game are quite childish, which we will get onto, but it doesn't fit the setting. It's not good. I can't even put it in any other words. It's not good at all. I actually hate every time we get an option to say, please continue your dialogue. I just know I'm going to hate what's being said. Aside from Solus, lads, Solus is actually really good. His voice actor has always been good. I've always been a fan of Solus, even though I didn't agree with him. When we finished Inquisition, I said, Solus, you're on a dangerous path here, and I will kill you. Which I think, although I can't change the way the game is, I would have preferred if they just continued the Inquisitor story, because the fact that we used to be friends was such a great way to have Solus be the villain in the game. Without spoiling anything, I don't want to spoil the game for you if you decide to play it, which I wouldn't recommend. Solas is relegated to nobody within the first 6 hours of the game. Waste of time. But that aside, let's talk about the hot topic, what the game is getting slated for. Now, I've got my opinions that might be slightly different, but the politics. So, we've already said that there's modern day dialogue, modern day terms that have been inserted into a fantasy setting which doesn't fit. It's jarring, takes you out of it. Same with the politics. There's a character that you meet called Tash. I actually quite like her when we met her. I thought it's about time we find a character that isn't just some sort of Disney princess. She's a strong warrior Kunari, which might be a bit jarring from the lore previously because Kunari women weren't warriors, from what I remember. But I'm not bothered. Like, I like strong, brutal women in games. I think it's always awesome. Always reminds me of Red Sonja, the movie. And then she opened her mouth. Sorry, the first time we met her, she was busy butchering two guys. One of them survived, and she just slaughtered him on the ground. I thought, yeah, this is what we want. And then she opened her mouth, and she's a juvenile child. She's supposed to be a dragon hunter. Doesn't really fit with her voice actor or character or dialogue. And her whole shtick is she's having a gender identity crisis. Now, my take on it is I'm not bothered if somebody has a gender identity crisis in a video game I'm playing, as long as they make it fit with the lore. Now, they have ham-fistedly tried to make it fit with the lore by saying that the Kunari or some faction do have these type of people in their ranks, and they've got a special name for them. However, they only briefly mentioned that once, and then it just goes on to have you would have guessed it, no role playing. She's going to do what she does regardless, and we have no impact. I don't mind politics in games. I don't mind if you put politics in games. I don't care if you had a faction, MAGA, wanting to build a wall to keep out immigrants, or you had another faction that didn't want to do it. As long as I, the player character, can say, I want to build the wall, I don't want to build the wall, or I don't care, let me slaughter everybody. I want options in games, and I want to let the game let me at least steer things in a direction that would suit my character that I'm trying to roleplay, funnily enough. You can't. Like every other companion that we've mentioned, she's going to have her story. She's going to see her story, even if we don't agree. Previous Dragon Age games, if you had a disagreement, if you disagreed too hard with a character, because I can't think of any specifics because it's been a while since I played the Dragon Age games, even though last year we did play all three of them, one after another, and it was such a blast. Normally there's a couple of options with companions in these games. You can agree with them and help them with the way they want to be or what they see. You can disagree with them. You can give your opinion over as to why you disagree, and oftentimes they will come around to the way you think. Or the third or fourth option. Third option is you can say, I don't care, let it play out. Or the other option is to say, I vehemently disagree with you. If you continue on this road, I will kill you or I will exclude you from the group. Vice versa, if you've offended your teammates enough, they will leave you as well. I've had times in Dragon Age games where my teammates are just up and fucked off because they said, I don't like the way you're doing things. That's a good game. Can't do it in here. It's railroaded. She's going to... the solution to her gender identity is already hard-coded, and you do not have a chance to help her with it, guide her with it, tell her, I do not care. The Darkspawn are knocking down our doors. We've got worse things to think about. This fucking internal struggle that you've got is not helping. Pick up an axe and start slaughtering, woman. Can't say it. Next. The companions in the story. Previous games, you would normally have a team of companions that you liked, you got along with. You would have them in your party. And when you got through to a main story mission or something, they might have their own input in what's going on. And the good thing is, I remember times in Dragon Age Origins with Alistair or Wynne, depending on where you took them, they would have more knowledge about the area that you were in, and you could let them take the lead. You could let them lead the conversation within dialogue options, and that was really cool. It felt like you were a party. You can't do that in this game. I've never had once where companions interjected in anything we've been saying. One, because there's very few times that you have any choice of saying anything, but it's not there. They've removed that aspect. Maybe there is one of those aspects after 28 hours. I am going to finish the game, but so far 28 hours in, nothing like that. Your companions are just lemons that follow you about and help you in combat. And that leads me on to the companions in combat. Previous Dragon Ages, you've got your companions. You can control them. You can use them tactically. You can place them in the battlefield to help you strategize or use certain strategies against what you're fighting, whether you want to use a warrior to aggro and then your mages in orbiting with their area effect spells. Nah, not here. Your companions aren't really there. They can't take damage. They can't die. If you die, your main character, that's game over. Your main characters are only really there for you to have additional abilities for the character that you play. So, for example, my two favorite characters for combat are Nev and Bellara because they synergize really well with the warrior. They've got skills that can detonate and skills that can slow down time, which is perfect for the type of combat that I like. But the issue is, it's not very deep. Each companion's got 6 skills, and they've got their own mini skill tree. A bit like Dragon Age 2, where every skill had abilities that you could choose one or the other to shape them to fit your combat style. While that does have it in this game, it's very shallow. Outside of the base skill without any points put in it, it doesn't really change except for more damage or less cooldown. It doesn't change how the skill works. The skills always work the same from day one, or if it's fully upgraded. It doesn't get any extra effects really, aside from like damage or something like that, which is it looks the skill system looks deep, but it's not. It's an illusion. It's a ruse. So let me lead that on to what I actually do like about the game. I like the combat system. Is the combat system good? It's passable. It's God of War from Wish.com. It's Star Wars Jedi Survivor from Wish.com. It's an action game through and through, and not the best action game I've played. I am still having fun with it. I'm having more fun with it now, 20 hours in, than I was at the beginning of the game because I've got options to different skills in the skill tree. And I've just hit level 30. I went into the champion path. Now, which is a bit weird. I like two-handed weapons. Oh, lads, let me mention this before I go into what I was saying. There's no great swords in the game. A fantasy game without great swords. What is this sacrilege? Are you trying to on purposely offend me? So, lads, I do like this big sweaty axe that we're using. But there's no great swords in the game. Never mind. So I like playing a two-handed warrior. And I've went down the non-two-handed warrior specialization simply because it's got the ability to parry any attack, including unblockable attacks. And I haven't had a chance to try that out yet, but I think it's going to be amazing because I quite enjoy the parrying in this and things like that. You can just play it like God of War. Yeah, so lads, that's all I've really got to say about the game. I feel like there's no role playing to be had. It's an action game through and through. They should have either focused on one or the other. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this previously, but Dragon Age games have never had great combat systems. They've never been the golden standard for combat systems. But you don't need a golden standard for a combat system if your other mechanics are above average. Dragon Age can lean on the role playing because that's what it's always done well. And that's why you can have a pretty passable, fun, tactical combat system to go alongside of it. And those factors together make for a really good game. This game can't lean on the combat because the combat's not great. And the combat can't lean on the role playing because there isn't any, which significantly hinders the game. I couldn't recommend the game. As much as I am having fun with the combat system, it's because I'm a simple guy that likes hitting things and drop kicking things off cliffs. There's really nothing here to keep you interested, story-wise or companion-wise. you're not going to feel like you've had any sort of impact on the world, and that's a really crying shame. So, lad, that's it. That's my first impression of the game. If you're playing the game, I'm hoping you're enjoying it. But if you aren't playing the game, be warned, this is what you can expect. Take care.